I call to order the Board of Trustees special meeting for Tuesday, September 13, 2022, and the time is 5 o'clock. This is a special meeting and limited to subjects on the agenda only. Trustee Johnson, would you like to give the invocation?
Sure. Lord, thank you for this day, and thank you for the citizens here of Etna Township. And thank you for giving us a free country that we can have this government operate in. Pray for those who protect us every day, who are out on the front lines in other nations that are keeping our way of life here. Pray for those loved ones as they miss their people that are gone, protecting us. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mrs. Brown.
Mark Evans.
Here.
Jeff Johnson.
Here.
Rosalind McKee.
Here.
And Julie Darian is excused.
I move to adopt the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Is that Jeff?
Doesn't matter one of us.
Jeff, yeah.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mark Evans.
Yes.
Jeff Johnson.
Yes.
Rosalind McKee.
Yes.
Pass.
Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. This is a special meeting and public comments are limited to the subjects on the agenda only. Please come up to the podium and state your name, address, and for the record. Are there any public comments? Okay, award 2022 paving project. I'll just turn it over to Mr. Evans.
All right. I move to contract with Shelly Company with Mark Evans as the signatory for the township and to sign the contract with Shelly Company for the 2022 paving for a total of $168,970.60.
All right, I'll second it for discussion.
With discussion, the bids were open today at noon. We received. What?
Are we discussing it or?
Yes.
Okay.
We did
Okay.
there's a second, so
I just wanna
now
make
is when we
sure.
can have
Okay.
discussion. So again, the bids were open today at noon. We received one from the Shelly Company and one from Coco Singh. Shelly Company was low bidder on both Pike Street East and Etna Crest Boulevard. The engineer's estimate total was $199,319.42, with the lower bidder being the Shelly Company. I did review the bid packages and both were complete with the required items of the bid guarantee, of the non-collusion affidavit, the bidder's equal employment opportunity certification, and the ODOT pre-qualification certification. We also received an email that our prosecutor did a cursory review and found that the packages both contained the required information. So that is what I have.
I see where he did send an email here this evening around 4:09 and 4:06, and it looks like he perfunctory, meaning basically he looked over the contract, but he didn't completely look over the contract, the contracts. So I am not ready to vote on this tonight because the fact that he didn't completely review the contract. So that's just where I am on it. I'm just.
Because normally how we do these things is you have to open the bid, send them up to the prosecutors for their, make sure we're doing apples and apples, and it comes back to us and we vote on it.
Right.
So you're saying he did review them all the way, or he did or not?
He didn't review them all the way. He said perfunctory, and that means that he didn't completely review the packets of all of the bids. Only two, but he normally takes time. He got it late today. He said that he didn't have the time to look over it like he would feel comfortable looking over it. So he said that he basically kind of reviewed them. I don't want to make, I'm not going to vote on it tonight because I still want to look over the documents that we just got today of the two contracts. So.
Okay, well, to address your comments, the contract is actually our contract. It was submitted with the bid documents, so that is something that we actually received from the prosecutor through this whole process that we received from the engineer, then the prosecutor. So that is our contract. The only thing that was required in this bid document were those 4 documents, which were, I believe, on page 8. Yes, on page 8 of our contract, our bid requirements, that the completed bid form shall be accompanied by the following documents. 1, the bid guarantee. 2, non-collusion affidavit. 3, bidder's equal employment opportunity certification. And 4, ODOT pre-qualification certification. Both the bids received had those, and that is what our prosecutor indicated was present. He did not go through the entire packet because Shelly did include workers' comp and all that. Per our requirements and our contract, within 7 days of awarding the contract, or awarding the bid, a contract will be signed and all that additional stuff will be reviewed and gone through, but the requirements for the bid guarantee that is signed by either the president, vice president, or somebody that has power of attorney, that was satisfied. It was the vice president. So there's no reason to delay this any further. And if you wanted more time to review, we set this at, quite a few meetings ago, that bid openings were going to be at noon and we're going to award this at 5 because this whole process has been nothing but delayed over and over again. And I think delaying even further, it would be an injustice. And again, the prosecutor stated that it contained all the requirements needed. And he didn't do the further evaluation of it because that's after we award it. That's the whole process of this.
Well, just under the award, just to let you know, under that execution of the contract, where it talks about 7 calendar days award of the contract, meaning you will select that particular contractor or that bid, and they have 7 days to execute their documents. But once you select them, they're selected. So that's what that is, under that 7-day execution of the contract. So even if they don't submit those documents within those 7 days, they still have the bid. The bid is basically...
Right, and Shelly Company already submitted those documents in their bid packet if you've reviewed that. They didn't have to do that, but they did. So what we need to do is award this contract and then follow the proper procedure of going through that other process of all the other requirements of it, the signing the contract and that. I mean, our road crew superintendent, he's very anxious to see when they're going to be able to start. Well, we can't find that out until we award it. So again, any further delay is just, I believe, wholly inappropriate at this time. When I spoke to Jared Nur earlier when we were trying to put this together, he was even questioning whether we would get bids this late in the year. So as you see, the weather's changing today. We need to move on this, and there's no reason for delay. And I'd like to add, we do have the email from the prosecutor stating that everything needed in the bid is there. And on page 8 are the 4 items that are required, and they are there for both Kokosing and the Shelly Company. I mean, Jeff, do you have any questions?
I can say how we've always done it before. In your last years, watch the example. We get the bids, we open them, review them, send them to the prosecutor, we get them back. Everything's good
Is
to
it all done
go.
on that same day, sent to the prosecutor on that day,
Well, if we open them, we send them out to them.
that day, and they come back that same day and you guys vote?
Well, no, it's usually the next meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, it's usually the next meeting, because we open them during a meeting, and then we
right.
send them
No.
back to the next meeting, so we vote on it, so.
So you have that whole, until the next meeting?
Yeah.
No,
to-
typically,
We wouldn't open them during the meeting. He would open them on a Friday before the next meeting.
And then you had that time.
John would open them during the day, like Mark did, and then they would get sent, if he needed,
All right.
if he needed something to be reviewed, then he would have time to send it to the prosecutor's office, and then he would award it or have a special meeting once he got the review back from the prosecutor's office.
So
Usually he would, if you notice in this, the one from last year, it said would be awarded by a certain date.
So my
Like
question
it was,
is,
after he opened it, he would agree to award it by a certain
So what is
date.
our, what is our
so
thing?
my question is,
But you guys passed a motion with Mark that he was gonna open them today and award them today.
and that was required because of the constant repeated delays to get to this point. Typically, you would do this a lot earlier in the year, you'd have more time to spread it out, but we don't have that luxury here.
As far as I know, in the past, they were always reviewed by the prosecutor.
Now,
I
Mrs. Brown,
understand that.
Mrs. Brown, when I was talking to you earlier, you said that John just reviewed it, you never
No, I
mentioned the
know
prosecutor.
that John would take it to the prosecutor's office and then come back.
Okay.
John would have it reviewed by the prosecutor's
Well,
office.
And I would just like to point out, we did have it reviewed by the prosecutor, and he stated that it is complete
He didn't say
and
complete.
responsive.
He didn't say complete. That's not his response. He did not say that.
He stated,
But you are correct, Mark. John Carlisle always handled it. He would open them, we would write down the bid amounts, and then he would have it reviewed. A lot of times he drove it down to the prosecutor's office, or however he did it. I never had to scan it in like I did today. He took care of it, and then he would come back with the prosecutor's opinion on it. I did not handle the review with the prosecutor's office when he was handling roads.
and again, the prosecutor stated that it contained, for some reason, I don't have the email. Oh, here it is.
Well, he sent it at 409, more forwarded to us, so 406. And more sent it.
As such, and in view, I've given the contract documents a perfunctory review to ascertain if each bid appears to be responsive to the bid request and specification and is proper in form. I found no defects in these regards, so they do meet our bid requirements and the information required, so that is when we award the bid. And then as far as the other requirements for insurance, workers' comp, and all that stuff, that is dealt with afterwards. That's the process.
You think it got awarded, you think he got reviewed in fully, probably, based on what you're looking to do?
I'm looking at his email. I mean, I don't, you know, I know I talked to the prosecutor today, and he got these bids, you know, and from his verbal conversation with me over the phone, he didn't have time to get through them because he wasn't sure we were supposed to review them. And so when I called him, I said, yeah, you know, we need to get this reviewed. And so this is his response. So basically, he kind of scanned over the documents, which are the bids, and he didn't see any, because it's back to the checkbox that you were mentioning, all these different things that had to happen.
Only 4.
Excuse me?
Only 4 items.
Okay. And so he saw those, but as far as the rest of the contract, he didn't feel that, you know, he got the complete.
The contract is ours. He's already reviewed
Understand
it
this
prior.
fire contract, but I'm saying the things that he needed to look over, okay?
There's nothing else to look
Yeah,
at.
it is, Mark. He had to go over, that's why we sent it over to him. That's exactly why we sent it over to him.
Again, this is the last slide. There's only 4 items required. He even indicates there's no defects, which means those are contained in each. I went through it. Have you read the contract
I
documents?
absolutely read it.
Well, then you would see
Call
that
for-
each
okay.
one is present, so that means we
Okay, we'll make a
move
motion.
forward.
Let me do it.
You already
I already made a motion, so I call the question.
I'm just waiting on Jeff to finish reading on his phone, is that all right? It was around, did you find the email, Jeff?
418.
Yeah, I got it, I'm reading it still.
It was late, and then you got a chance to driving here when that email came out.
Says, should any other issues arise with regards to more detailed analysis, I'll be happy to provide.
Well, I don't know what other issues could arise, because once you vote, it's done. I mean, just like they had those 7 days to submit those documents, there's no turning back.
It means what, next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday?
It's coming Tuesday, so what?
I mean, I call the question.
Are you ready to vote, Jeff?
Well, I call the question, so we have to vote.
All right.
Mark Evans?
Yes.
Jeff Johnson?
No.
Rosalind McKee?
No.
Delay.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Roll call?
You need a second.
Second? I'll second.
Mark Evans?
Yes.
Jeff Johnson?
Yes.
Rosalind McKee?
Yes.